watching. Hey, all you Days of Our Lives fans, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV Spotlight On. We have Mr. Jason Brooks here, ex-Peter Blake, to answer all of your Burning Days questions. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Well, hello, all of you Days of Our Lives fans. Welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV Spotlight On, where we invite past cast members of Days of Our Lives to sit and chit-chat with us and go down Days Memory Lane. I am your host, Tony Moore, and I am joined by some wonderful co-hosts, starting with the guy whose hair is higher than the longest episode of Days.
Which would be an hour. Mark J Freeman here.
And, of course, we have self-appointed co-captain,
Matthew Evan Paine, glad to be here.
And of course, you guys know him and love him. He played Peter Blake. He is Mr. Jason Brooks.
Hello.
How are you?
Good.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks.
Welcome
Happy
to.
be here.
Is that me? Oh, that was me. So unprofessional.
I know I turned mine down because I always almost forget.
Caller, please turn your
right
set down.
Well, don't fret, Days fans. We are going to allow you guys to call in and ask Jason some of your questions regarding his time on Days or any other of his numerous credits that he has in this little town called Hollywood. But first, we're going to start dishing some Days stuff. So, Jason, if you will please do the honors of it is official.
Right,
and we said it. And forget it.
Help yourself to a pizza roll.
Yes.
I made those myself.
I have a feeling I'm going to get hungry.
Did you make them from scratch, Mark?
Made them from the bag scratch.
Right.
The bag scratch.
They look delicious, I'm sure.
At least I didn't burn them this time.
Right. So, Jason, first off, was Days your first big, like, I hate to say big gig, but like your first, like,
I mean, in terms
role?
of consistent work, and
Yeah.
I mean, I was on for, as we were saying, just a little under 4 years, or somewhere between 3.5, 4 years. So, yeah, definitely. I had done a couple little things, but that was the first major one. Yeah, for sure.
Was it intimidating going into the soap opera realm? Because I hear from people that it can be quite intimidating, especially with the fast pace.
Yeah, I would say intimidating in terms of your workload. I didn't know anything about the medium at all, so getting there, I had no preconceptions, and so it was just about learning my pages and figuring out where to be. And when I first started, I would go on set and watch other actors work, people who I liked, and then I would go back and watch the episodes. That would mark them and watch them, and so I could see what they were doing to make themselves more effective, you know. So sorry, I've got my back to you.
That's
there,
okay.
But,
That's okay, Mr.
So
Jason's being handsy already.
Yeah,
It's okay. It's what I'm here for.
I think I was more eager than intimidated, really. That would probably be a better description. That was more apropos at the time of my life that I was in, too. I was pretty gun-ho about it.
Who were some of the cast members that you would watch?
Well, I watched different people for different things.
Right.
So I watched Drake Hogestyn quite a bit because first off, he was the biggest star on the show at the time,
Right.
Of a really cool guy, and took me under his wing, kind of a thing. So I wanted to see what all the hoopla was about, you know. And I watched him quite a bit. Who was my first? I really like Joe Mascolo. I really like him as an actor still to this day. I thought he was doing some interesting stuff, and so I watched him. It's probably going to come back to me, the people that I really liked, and other soaps too. There's one guy I really always thought was a great actor. I haven't seen him work in 15 years, but he's on General Hospital. Maurice
Bernard.
Yeah. So he was someone I really liked at the time, and so I kind of looked at his stuff, but off the other shows. But just as an actor, when you're watching something, it may not just be for pure delivery. It might just be positioning camera-wise, when to come in, you're on your cues, just simple technical stuff.
Right.
And Days soaps are the most technical of all the mediums, so there was a lot of room for learning. I had mostly theater training up to that point, so it was just...
and pretty much one take to nail it.
That's right. Yeah, which was fine. I was up to that challenge. I like that. I like being under pressure like that.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
That's fine for me. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Yeah.
How did you get into acting?
Wow. I grew up in Los Angeles. I really kind of never went for it. I had a lot of friends who did commercials and stuff, but I just heard what a bad business it was.
It's definitely an
boy. They underestimated it.
Yeah.
And so I never really did it. And then in high school, there was a girl I liked, and I did a theater program. She was in the theater class, and I took that class. And I remember doing Of Mice and Men, a scene from Of Mice and Men, and going like, this is fun. And I liked the feeling of whether I was wrong or not, having an aptitude for something, and I felt that it was something that I was good at. Early on, up until then, it had pretty much been sports that I had that feeling at. So I was intrigued by that, and when I got out of college, I went into business. I figured that's what I was supposed to do, and Buddy and I opened up
Island Yogurt.
Island Yogurt, yeah. Just done your homework. Wow. Hurry. So we went and actually he's now a very successful actor too. Greg Grunberg. He does a lot of nighttime stuff, and he works
Alias.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And Alias and Heroes and so.
So I should go.
But he and I were
yogurt
say the, yeah, exactly. That's natural segue. But he and I were roommates in college. We had gone to high school together. We were and junior high school together, and so we were best friends. And we kind of sort of jumped into it. Him a little later. He was writing first for a little bit, but then he finally got into it. And I was I think 25, 26 years old, which most actors have been in rehab twice by now. So it was kind of late, relatively speaking, and but that's it. No getting discovered at the Brown Derby or anything like that. Unfortunately.
So you got the audition for Days of Our Lives. What was that like?
Right. I had actually tested previously for the role of Austin.
Yes.
Where I first met Pat Middleton. Sorry, it's hard for me to say his name without laughing. He's still a good buddy of mine. Yeah. So I had auditioned for that. I had screen tested for that. Didn't get that, and then out of the blue, they called me a few months later and just asked if I was interested in doing a recurring role. I started out recurring. I was not a contract role right away, and then I think it was 3 episodes or something, and that grew to 6 episodes and 10 episodes, and it just kept going. And finally, my agent said, "Listen, if you guys want to get an exclusive deal, we'll have to tie him down because I can't just I got to kind of know what I'm doing.
Right.
I don't know if I'm going to the beach that day or not. So let me know.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
They sorry, I was just going to ask something, and now it's gone.
All right.
Was I'm that quick. It's gone.
What cologne I'm wearing?
It threw me. Go ahead, because it'll come back to me.
All right.
Well, I always like the audition stories, because we've had many people come in and they said that they've auditioned for other roles before landing their role. So I always find that very interesting.
I think it's probably standard. Gosh, when I look at my experience in primetime television, I mean, there's some shows I auditioned for 10, 12 times before booking a role. And I think The Mentalist is one that I probably my entire career auditioned the most for. I don't even know, but I know it was over 10.
Wow.
Over the years I finally did one. But there's just shows like that. It's just keep hitting, and finally, look, you guys have done everything I can do.
Yeah.
You want me to play an old lady? I'll do that. What do you need me to? What is it you're looking for?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's just for them. It's just something that fits with what they're looking for. And I would imagine the same thing, especially contract role. You have to. It's a big commitment on both sides of the coin. So.
Yeah.
Had you ever watched Days of Our Lives prior to booking the role?
I don't think so. I don't think I had seen much. I mean, I remember as a little kid, like our housekeeper folding laundry and watching soap operas, and that was my experience with it. I knew nothing about it really, you know.
And did you watch while you were on the show?
Initially, I watched the first 2-3 months that I was on, tried to nip and tuck what I could do performance-wise and all that. But after a while, it can get too overwhelming because, you know, I was fortunate enough to get into 2 big storylines, right? So I was working 12, 14 hours every day, and it's like you come home, you really want to get away from it. And I had to learn my lines for the next day and things like that. And so it was just a little overwhelming. So I would, like I said, initially I watched just to kind of put my work where I wanted it to be. But then, and then if there was something that I was really curious about, I would check in. I remember I had a fight scene with Mark Valley, who was playing Jack, who played
that's
Jack
right.
during he played during my era.
There was another Jack.
Yeah.
Mark.
No.
Well, there was also Steve Wilder too,
Yeah.
played for a little bit. But Matt, I know you're a big Matt fan. I saw that clip, but Matt was there I think he was there about 3 weeks of overlap.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then he went off, and so I knew him.
Yeah.
Great guy, and I actually liked watching his stuff because he always brought comedy to it.
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
Which is really tricky to do in this medium. It's kind of, you got to be a little bit renegade with it. So, there was a scene where Mark and I got into this huge fight, and I mean, just destroyed the set. It was one of the best. You know, of course, we staged beforehand. I'm sure they hired a stunt coordinator for the day. But you know, once you get going, and Mark's an athletic guy. He's former military.
Right.
And, I mean, I remember just going over tables, couches, just lamps being busted and all that. And then, you know, get up, straighten your hair out, you know, and back off, Jack, whatever I've said for 3 years, and then exited, you know. So I definitely tuned in to see that. There was also another time where a bunch of us, I don't remember who else it was. I know it was Brian DeTillo, Thyme Lewis. I don't know if Pat was in on that one, and I did some like Chippendales dancing kind of a thing for someone's birthday or engagement party or something like that.
That sounds very familiar.
Yeah, and so
well, that was last week.
I'll tell you something. If you ever look at that clip, shouldn't out him.
We will shortly after the interview.
I shouldn't out him, but I'm gonna. If you look at the very beginning of it, Thyme Lewis comes out and he has clothespins on his nipples.
Oh my God, I love it.
We dared him to do it, and he did it. He came out, and he of course makes it part of his dance. That's Thyme. He flips him off. But if you look at the very beginning of it, he's pulling it up now. But
I'm trying.
See, that's the thing. I have to be really careful what I tell you guys, because it's going to be thrown in my face very soon. So.
I was gonna say though, like I feel like a lot of times on soap operas, especially when there's an established super couple like Jack and Jennifer, I do feel like you and the Peter and Jennifer was also like one of those ones too that fans were kind of like, I'm okay with this. You know what I mean? Even though it was interrupted.
Eventually, at first, I got a lot of hate mail.
Yeah.
Like you know, that was like that was a really weird experience. I mean, there was. Like I remember going to, I think it was Eileen Davidson at the time, who played my my sister, and I was like, these people know that this is just make believe, right?
They don't.
They don't.
And it's partly because it's on 5 days a week, right? So they see that and they get very invested in the story. But I had a lot of people sending me mail like, stay away from Jennifer and all this, but they were clearly angry, and so
they had to be, because they had to write a letter and stamp it and mail it.
Yeah, we couldn't just tweet you.
Yeah,
well, see, back then it was a big commitment to hate. It's so much easier to hate people now.
Right. You just like tweet.
But so that took a little getting used to, but you know, once I was able to get my mom to stop sending me hate mail, I really leveled out. No, but people, if it's done smartly, and I guess volume helps too. If you just keep nailing it, they adjust to it. And people really, after a while, people were voting more for Peter and Jennifer than for Jack and Jennifer, even when he returned. So, but you know, I think that was, again, I was lucky because it was an interesting storyline. Here it was the Snow White of the soaps, and then here I was a villain of the son, the adopted stepson of adopted son of the most, you know, evil,
notorious
villain, and exactly. So,
which, you know, he's dead now.
That's what you guys were telling me. Yeah, I didn't.
He's no longer on Days.
I mean,
Flashbacks,
not that he
of
can't
course.
come back. He's the Phoenix, right?
Right. It's true.
He'll rise again.
He's died before, right?
Yeah.
Well,
I think this is
see
it,
him
though,
get
right?
shot on screen this time.
This time you see him dead, and there's pulse taken and all that. But
Well, yeah.
you know, he reveals a mask.
Right.
That's very possible.
Lexi
Very
or
possible.
something like that. You know
Right.
what I mean? You
Who's
never
also
know,
dead, right?
Who?
Is she really?
Lexi?
Yeah,
Lexi's
dead.
She died of a disease.
Yes, there's
that's
only
awesome.
one.
So you don't watch currently?
Yeah, no, I.
Your sister fell out a window.
Yes.
Oh, which was wonderful.
So she could be alive.
Accident-prone
Could be.
family, right?
Yeah.
And I'm still in
You're still in-
penitentiaries,
yeah.
federal penitentiary.
For all we know.
Checkers,
But,
yeah.
Yeah, but who knows? Maybe off camera you were like, you broke out of jail and you've been hiding in like New Salem for all we know.
Could
Or
happen.
Louisiana with
or,
Ben.
Or Aramid.
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
storyline, yeah.
Did you have a favorite storyline while you were on the show?
Maybe Aramid.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it was always a fun time, and I think a lot of it overlapped with the timing of the show. The show was doing really well. It was number one in the demographics and rivaling YNR periodically, and at the time, and just a great cast, and I think a great time. You know, this is all for the large part, pre-internet, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Before
Yeah.
the whole market was fractionated. And so it was a good time. People were turning in good numbers. There was money to be made, and we had a really good era in cast. You know, like I said,
Yes,
Pat
the best.
Muldoon and Christy Clark and Brian Detillo and Thyme and all those. You know, we just had such a fun time. We were all good buddies. We saw each other outside of work, and we would occasionally do personal appearances. Lisa Rinna was there at that time, and
Lisa Rinna.
yeah, who was a doll, and so we you know, it was a fun time. So all of it, really, all of it. You know,
Yeah.
it was just a great time.
You mentioned that you keep in touch with Pat. Is there anyone else from the cast that you still?
Yeah. I mean, so keep in touch. I mean, in all honesty, Pat is the type of guy where, you know, we text each other a few times a year. F you, you know, just catch up in that way.
Right.
Mark Valley was a buddy of mine. I haven't talked to him in a few years, but we stayed in contact. Rourke Critchlow played Mike Horton. Was a good buddy of mine for a long time. We've fallen out. He moved to Texas for a little bit, and I don't know. Our wives were really good friends, and they've split up. Rourke and his wife, unfortunately. So we sort of lost contact with him a little bit. Thyme I see once in a while. Drake I would run into sparsely, but Drake was always, you know, like my guy. He's just a great guy.
He's a really nice person.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. And there's no way different ways about it. And we connected sense of humor wise, and you know, he's got a really crude sense of humor, and I've been known to go down that road if I have to. And
I don't believe it.
Yeah, exactly. But we had Eileen a little bit, Lisa a little bit. I used to run into Lisa every so often, but you know, you fall out of contact. You know, I had kids now, and
Were you at the 50th anniversary?
I was not. I was out of town.
Oh.
And unfortunately, I didn't make it. Oh, Yvonne Guevara played Ivan.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, yes.
He and I are good buddies.
I
And
love
he
this kid.
lives in. He's another guy who could do a lot of funny stuff. I used to watch his stuff,
Yeah.
like if we were in makeup and it would be on the monitor, and I would just be laughing. I mean, he just, because knowing him in real life, you realize some people are funny accidentally. It's on purpose.
Right.
He acts like it's accidental, like it's just happening. He's very innocent, but he's got a very dry sense of humor. But he moved to New Mexico like 10 years ago, so I haven't seen him in a long time. But we were going to go to the 50th party together and kind of crash it, but I had to go out of town. So
What a fun time to be on Days of Our Lives.
it was a great.
It was a superstar cast.
I'm telling you, it was an amazing cast. And you know, it's weird because I came back after I left. I came back a few months later, 4 or 5 months later, maybe. I don't recall what the time frame was, to finish out the storyline, and I was on for 3-4 months, and it's just a different vibe there. It was just all kind of quiet, and I guess it was part cast changes, but also there was a trend that was, you know, the sort of medium was downtrending a little bit. It was like the tip of the iceberg of all that, and you know, I mean, back then there was 10, 11 soaps. How many are now?
Four.
Four. So that speaks for itself.
Yeah.
So
If Days decided to release Peter from the penitentiary, would Jason Brooks go back?
it's weird that I knew above all questions this one.
This one's going to be one. Yeah.
Well, we waited a half hour to ask.
Half hour,
so
yeah.
That's
So
good.
did we start on time? Technically, in a half
Okay,
hour.
20 minutes.
I'm not. As Deidre Hall says, never say never. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If the situation was right, yeah, I could see that. The situation would have to be right.
Right,
You know?
yeah.
And I'd have to know what they're wanting to do. I mean, the only thing that's really hard about the soaps, I was never as an actor down on soaps. I as soon as I got there, within the first week, I went, oh wow, I can see what this is. This is very involved and great training and all that, and it's presents its own set of challenges, as does every medium. Film different, television different, theater different, but I felt at the time I was stuck saying the same thing for large chunks of time,
Right.
and just the same people,
Right.
and so that sometimes I understand that that's geared toward an audience member who perhaps isn't a daily watcher.
Right.
Right.
Shame on you, by the way,
Right.
Who's not watching every single day?
Every single
Right.
day. But so we if the situation was right, and yeah, I think that could happen. Sure.
Well, I think they're getting. We talked about this a little bit on our show, that I think they're getting a little bit away from that repetition because of the internet and people being able to
You have
go
to
back
compete, yeah.
Yeah. So now I think it's definitely. I've noticed that it's not as, though they might like re-show the same bit.
Right.
You know, like at the end of an episode, they'll show it at the beginning
Right.
of the next episode.
Yeah.
But I don't hear a lot of the repetition that I used to. That used to annoy me.
And
so.
and what about general overall exposition? Is that still pretty
And
much
they've
like
actually
it?
got, well, this is something that's happened recently with the new writers too, is that they're moving it quicker. So like, instead of it taking a month for you to find out
Or
that somebody
years.
was drugging somebody,
Right.
it literally happens in 3 days. I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
okay, we're
Yeah.
going there. We're
Yep.
going there
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So that's been nice.
Right.
That's been a nice change.
Because back in the day, like you said, if you watched an episode and waited 4 weeks to watch another one, you were
You
still
could
on the
pretty
same
much
day.
stay
Yeah,
caught
right.
up. And so I think
Exactly.
that's geared for a different audience. I think it's things
Yeah.
are happening faster, and the attention spans are different. I mean, look
Yeah.
at, you got Vine is what, 7 seconds,
Yeah.
Instagram 18 seconds. I think my kid, one of my sons told me that they elongated the time frame, but
Yeah.
it's all geared toward, it's got to
It's
happen
quick.
quick. That people don't want to drag out. And the other thing was like, you'd be stuck in a storyline. You'd be saying something about other people's storylines.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk to John because John has to go and
Yeah.
start telling his whole story,
Right.
and that was that could get monotonous. But my time on Days was really good, and like I said, a great time, great castmates, and the storyline was fun. The material was good. It was just a lot of material. I was in 2 really big storylines. I was just
You were.
really lucky in that medium. I mean, I worked consistently 4 or 5 days a week,
Yeah.
and then on the weekends I would go and do appearances and stuff. And I was just, thank God I was a young man. I was really tired. Yeah.
What's the turnaround time when you get a script? How quickly do you have to memorize an episode?
I don't recall. It's days though. It's 2-3 days or something like that. If I recall. This is again, we're talking 20 years ago. So
I can't believe it's been that
I know.
long.
I can't either. I was
Seems like
driving out here
yesterday.
thinking
It
about
does.
it. Yeah.
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 So, and that's something else that's like any other muscle you work though. Memorizing lines. That was that's always generally what most people come in and are most worried about. Like, how am I going to do this? But I found it was just like any other muscle you exercise. You get, the more you do it, the better you get. So what used to take me 2 hours to learn when I first got on the show, 20 minutes. And then, then it got to be where I could be learning it, on the way to work. And
Right.
I'm not advocating driving kids. Just saying that, which is the camera, by the way?
This one's
Any one of
yours.
them?
There's
Okay,
a tour,
so-
and then that's the
don't drink and drive either. But I mean, you're in makeup, you can learn. I mean, it's amazing how you can learn, and you have to do it, because if you wrap at 8 o'clock at night and you're called, now they have, the hours are different now from what I understand, but it used to be really rigorous back then. And your call time is 6 the next morning. By the time you shower and eat, you don't have a lot of time to sit down and not if you want to get a couple hours of sleep. So it's important to be able to learn. That quickly. So.
And you can't really fudge the lines. Like they want it word for word, right?
They want it word for word. trying to think how it was, because we went through a couple executive producers when I went there. They were pretty stringent about it the whole time. If you made a little bit of slips here and there, they weren't, change it in or but or the or something. Yeah, but pretty much anything of point, they would really want you to. They'd have you come back and do it. But I would, like I said, I didn't have that. Wasn't a problem of mine. I was able to memorize it and say it and move on. It was pretty good. I was good back then. Now, I don't know.
Not so much.
I don't know. We'll see.
I was gonna toot your horn for you
Yes.
because I had heard, and you kind of touched on this, that you had auditioned for Austin first,
Right.
But that you actually didn't have to audition for Peter. They just liked you that much that they wanted you.
I did not audition for Peter,
Yeah.
and it started out recurring.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a contract. Yeah, they did call me and offer me the role. So
that says a lot.
That does say a lot.
I think that says a lot.
no. All right, thank you. I'll
And I
take
think
that.
your resume proves it.
All right, thank you.
But you also, I started watching Days when you were on, and totally watching Days by accident. I was one of those people that I don't understand
Happened.
soaps. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't get it, but. I'm sitting here eating, and I like to watch TV and eat at the same time, and it was on, so I
doesn't?
figured,
too, right.
I figured why not.
They make each
Speaking
other
of which-
mutually better, right?
Yeah.
It's just obvious, yeah.
But I thought
might be a perfect time for
you
them
played a villain so well. It was very
Thank you.
smooth and very like
Thank you.
what did you do to or what was your inspiration that you put into the character of Peter?
Don't get fired. No, I mean,
Right.
I mean, really, like any other character, the way I was trained is just always make the character real if you can. And so, if I felt if I had made him this sort of maniacal kind of a villain, that would be short-lived.
Yeah.
And so, and plus, when there was sort of mention, or we started heading in the direction of being a romantic lead as well, I figured that was gonna really have to balance. So I just try to keep them real and and not crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
Do callers know that they can call in?
Callers do know that they can
Well,
call in.
you also got the Soap Opera Digest Villain Award.
I did get that. My first year. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. A fun time.
Be proud of.
Yeah, I was.
You know what I mean? Like
that award's at my mom's house right now.
And I'm the fan that I like the bad guys.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like
sure.
as soon as they get like all cutesy, I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, right.
I like the.
They always kept me bad, even when I was romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was fun.
Yeah.
Good times.
But even after Days, you continued to work a lot.
Yeah, no, I did. Not too long after that, I did like a half season of The Pretender at the time, and then I was always doing a little bit of film work here, a movie of the week there, a couple episodes of a show there, and a lot of guest starring work. And then I went on. I did Baywatch Hawaii. I took over for Hasselhoff when the show moved to Hawaii.
Was that intimidating to take over that role at all?
No,
not
intimidating. No.
but
It's a valid question.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I was at a time in my life where I really wasn't getting intimidated.
Yeah.
I was a young man. I mean, I
Yeah.
was a beast back then. You
Yeah.
know, it's not. I just didn't get intimidated. I was welcome the challenge. So
Right.
I think the intimidating part of it would be just the physical demands of it. It was we were in Hawaii. The water and obstacles in Hawaii are significantly more demanding and even treacherous, dare I say, than Malibu. And
Right.
so I really had to. I grew up in Southern California, so I knew how to swim,
Yeah.
but I wasn't a swimmer.
Yeah.
And to deal with that, I had to become a swimmer, and so that the training for that was really rigorous, and I took it very seriously. But I don't think I was ever intimidated. I think more excited and feeling that I was up for the challenge. And again, I met some amazing people there too, people that I'm really close with still to this day. Michael Bergen, Jason Momoa, Brooke Burns, and just long-lasting relationships and things. And so that was really fun. And living in Hawaii was amazing. We had our first child. He was a newborn, and and so that presented the newborn thing, and you're exhausted,
Yeah.
and and you're baking in the sun all day, and but it was really an experience. It was a great experience and a lot of fun, and something I always look back on fondly. Really.
Were you living in Los Angeles when you booked Baywatch Hawaii?
Yeah.
You were.
Yes.
So you
we
just had to
moved.
uproot and
We moved. We lived there for 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
and a great experience.
Awesome. Amazing. And the people I met there. First of all, Hawaii is to this day is one of my favorite places on earth. Probably my preferred vacation when I'm vacationing. but the people that I met there, the guys who worked on the show, the crew, the watermen, became really good friends with Brian Keolana, who's a famous big wave surfer, and he was our head waterman, and I trained with him a lot in the water and stuff, and we got to do these really cool things. He was big on rock running. Rock running is you dive down to the bottom of the ocean, you're maybe 15, 20 feet deep, pick up a heavy rock, and run along the bottom of the ocean, obviously to expand your lung capacity so you can stand. For them, it's, as a big wave surfer, you get stuck under the water for a minute, 2 minutes, sometimes 3 minutes at a time, so you have to be able to hold your breath. Yeah,
wow.
So that was really fun.
Another
Yeah,
reason
me
not
too.
to
I
start.
just got tremendous anxiety.
Water's scary, and,
Yes, it is.
and the water there, it's not as consistent as it is here. You get rogue waves, and it's just
You mean it's
very
not
powerful.
slow-mo like they make it out to be?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not
Just very nice and slow.
That's right.
and-
No, not in Hawaii.
I want to see the run.
Yeah, I can't even do them run anymore. But the and I got into canoe surfing and things. It was just an amazing time in my life. Yeah, it was fun.
Well, before we have to wrap things up with Jason, which is coming, unfortunately, very soon, we're going to take your questions. So if you have a question, feel free to give us a call at 424-253-0749. Again, that's 424-253-0749. We will take your questions live on the air. I don't know where that Jamaican accent came from, but I suddenly felt like Miss Cleo.
I like it.
Yeah, I barely noticed. It was good.
Well, we do have some questions from fans in the chat room.
Okay.
Casey Lynn asks, what was one thing you learned from working with Joe Mascolo?
Joe, I'd say power. Joe's a really powerful actor, big booming guy, and he was always funny because I'm sure you guys know Joe's from New York. He doesn't have that accent, and so he thought it was important to keep that accent at all times. So you'd see him in the hallway.
Oh,
and say,
really?
Hey, Joe, how's it going? Not too bad. Dude, take it easy.
Yeah.
We're not on. But he was committed to it, and so but. You just make strong choices. I think that's what Joe did. Is he had a really good command, and I always loved working with Joe because of that. It's like I had to really be on my game. Some other actors, I won't mention them, but you didn't have to be on your game so much.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. When you work with different people, you knew what to expect and how to fill in the gaps on that. And so, at least that's how I always approached it, and that's how I've always approached it, and just kind of familiarizing myself with what they do and. See if we can find some room to play around, that kind of thing. So,
I was going to say, what surprised me about meeting you is that you seemed surprised that I recognized you. I don't know if you were surprised that I recognized you or that I recognized you from Days of Our Lives.
No, it's a security measure. It's really, no, really. I'm meaning like I'm essentially, in terms of my infrastructure, I'm a shy person, so I don't like that kind of attention. I never was. So what did I say to you? I said, you look familiar too, right?
You said
so immediately
you were
try to put it on you.
Right. That's exactly what you said.
I try to immediately try to. That's one of my A game moves. I try to put it on you initially because I don't want to get into. Some people come up and they're like, where do I know you from? You seem so familiar, and it's like some actors will run their whole resume, what have I seen you in, and then run their whole, does this remind you? Your memory? It's not my thing. I mean, look, like I mentioned you guys earlier, I'm not on any form of social media.
Right.
Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram,
None of it.
Twitter, none of it.
None of it.
Boop shot, none of it. Right?
Well,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, that's like my fatal flaw in this business is not, I'm not a good self-promoter, and I recognize that's to my detriment. I should.
You didn't realize you had Day's biggest fan standing right in front of you.
No, I mean, you were really nice about it, so I was just like, okay,
Where did this happen?
At an audition.
I ran into him, and he was really nice about it. Some people make me feel a little uncomfortable, put me on edge, and so just. That's why I'm here. I was like, he's a good guy. He seemed like a nice guy. And
he fooled you.
Thank you.
Exactly.
I'm a good actor too, Jason. You're not the only one.
Yeah.
You just wait.
Sarah Miller in the chat room wanted to know, do you prefer working as a villain versus a good guy? And if so, why?
Great question. Probably a villain because there's just more to do than... I'm the guy in the tight T-shirt and tight jeans kind of a thing. That's never interested me. always liked characters that were real. They were flawed. They had problems in their life, as we all know. That's what life is. It's not, it's not how you behave when everything's going your way. It's how you behave when you're up against adversity and things like that. So that's what's always kind of interested me as an actor. So I'd say a villain, probably, or at least a complicated hero.
Yeah, it's always good to play a villain. I want to play a villain.
Yeah.
Like my dream when I first started watching Days was to come on as a Demera.
Right.
I don't know how that was going to work out, but I was going to come in as...
We could figure it out.
There's a will, there's a
Easily.
way.
Yeah.
What was...
That's what the writing team is for.
Yeah, there was what was Tammy... what was a gal?
Celeste?
Celeste, yeah.
Tanya
Wasn't
Boyd?
he? Yeah.
Oh my God, I would have loved to be Celeste's son. Now it's
Yeah.
Maxine's son, but
Right.
Celeste.
Right.
Oh, and I could have had like the premonitions that she did as well.
Yeah.
But I would have had to have an accent.
That's right. I
You just had a
remember
Jamaica one.
Jungle
when you
Fever. She was in that when I had... when I came back on the show, I had Jungle Fever.
Yeah.
But different kind of jungle fever than the Spike Lee jungle fever.
Yeah,
It was,
not that jungle fever,
Yeah,
but
I
like-
got a bug in the jungle and I was going crazy and getting very violent with people. I remember one of my favorite scenes, back to that question, was, now that I remember, was when I got to shoot up the inside of a church with like a automatic rifle. I don't know, not that I would shoot up a church with an automatic, and I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying, I'm sure the tweets are coming in now.
But
now I'm at a loss for words.
Especially in this day and age, by the way,
Yeah,
when people
exactly.
really do that. So
Yeah.
scratch
Not
that.
advocating that.
Now, you posed for the cover of a certain magazine.
A few, I like to think in my day, but
Right,
Cosmo.
17.
Cosmo.
You let your hair down.
GQ.
Helena Gurley
And-
Bond, yes.
And Playgirl.
Playgirl.
How did that come about?
They asked, I said yes.
Really? That simple?
Yeah, I mean, I was at that. It was early on. I think that was '95. We said, and that was somewhat early on. Maybe not so early on, but they were encouraging me to do a lot of publicity.
And you
I
did it.
wasn't going to appear nude in it. Obviously, they didn't.
That was
really
my
even
next
ask me.
question.
They didn't ask me, so which is somewhat offensive.
If they had, would you have posed nude?
No, I don't. I mean, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I just because I knew I was going to have a family, and I was,
Yeah.
my wife and I were, starting to think in that direction, and you don't want to put anything out there that's. And now you have to be so much more concerned with it. I didn't even know what was coming. My God, now I would no way.
And I think people
But,
are paying less attention or caring less about actually just dropping it and
Yeah.
Well, I like how your IMDb page describes your appearance in Playgirl as the photos illustrating the interview inside show Jason bare-chested with his jeans pushed very low on hips.
About as low as you can go without it
Yeah.
receiving a certain rating.
Yeah.
That's how I saw you at the audition.
That's right.
He was pushing his
That's how I
jeans
go
down.
everywhere.
I said, is
everywhere I
that
go,
you,
I go
Jason?
shirtless. It's really
Right,
weird. Even
right.
at my age, old habits die hard.
It's like you walked into the casting running slow-mo, slowly
That's
taking
right.
your shirt off, and then presented yourself as hi.
That's right.
You look familiar. I don't know where I know you from.
Imagine that.
Are you at all familiar with the newest Demera that's on the show, Billy Flynn?
No, you were mentioned. So, oh no. Okay.
It's his man crush.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You said Chad. There is a new
he
Demera,
plays-
right?
yeah.
And so
And
he plays.
plays
Yeah,
Chad.
Billy
And
Flynn
he's-
plays Chad.
It's only him
Amazing.
and Andre. Well, really him. That's on. That's like we can see on the show now.
What is the relationship? So, like, how would he be related to me or Stefano?
His mother Madeline
Madeline
had an
and
affair with Stefano.
Okay.
And she got
So he'd
pregnant.
be my stepbrother.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
But younger. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Stefano
around.
He did, and had a lot of
Yeah.
kids.
Stefano, like Joe Namath and Stefano, right there, right?
Yeah.
Same guy. Yeah. Okay.
Stefano had more sex than Peter.
Yeah, a lot more. Although Jennifer was pretty willing, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he got around for sure. Every time I would come in, he had a different gal,
woman,
a
yeah.
different woman.
Yeah.
And yet he was obsessed with Marlena, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Stefano.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Till the day he died.
Yes.
Yeah.
You took the
But
words out of my mouth.
I was hoping that maybe you could, because I know Billy watches the show, I was thinking as his big brother,
Yes.
you should recommend that he do Playgirl.
Okay. Sounds good. Sounds
I mean,
good.
I think it should
Is there
be
even
like
a Playgirl anymore? I mean,
there is, yeah.
It's still in business?
Yes.
Yeah.
Your subscriptions are still intact.
Yes.
I see. All right.
Well, his is.
It's on auto renewal.
His has been intact since 1965.
got warm in here all of a sudden.
Ish.
Yeah, no, go ahead, man. Go for it. Go for it.
Have you had a favorite role?
Yeah, because you've had
You've had some good ones.
Yeah.
quite a few roles.
You know, most of the stuff I really enjoyed was on stage. I did a play I was telling you earlier with John Aniston, who plays Victor on the show.
Yes.
And after I left Days, we did Death of a Salesman right after I left, and I believe he played my uncle in that. That was just one of the most memorable experiences of my life. Yeah, to play Biff Lumen in Death of a Salesman. Partly because the play is so, it's just such a traditional play, and my absolute favorite playwright. But I'd say.
He brought the resume.
He's done so much he has to look through.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times the roles, it's the people that I work with. You know, I really enjoyed. I did a few episodes of Switched at Birth a few years ago.
Oh yes.
And worked with Constance Marie, and that was she was
I love her.
So do I.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing.
I always see
yeah.
her as Selena's mom.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So she was
Great movie.
That was
Yeah.
fun.
Not Selena Gomez, but like Selena Quintanilla.
Right.
Yeah.
Poor Selena.
I know.
I love that we have to be specific.
I loved working with J.J. Abrams. I was lucky enough to do a couple films with him, Star
Nice.
Trek and Super 8. That was fun. Those were good roles. Anything I was the lead in, I liked.
Right.
Of course. Who doesn't like to be the lead?
You know, some of the TV movies I did were a lot of fun. Alibi with Tori Spelling. We shot that in Vancouver, and that was fun.
When
Fun
was
time.
that?
I think 98, I want to say, maybe 97, 98, and it was up in Vancouver, and it was a really happening time in Vancouver. I'm sure their film business is still really doing well, but back then there was more happening there than there was down here. And you'd go at Friday after you wrapped, everybody would be in the Sutton Place hotel bar and just drinking off their week, and you'd be seeing, it was a who's who. It was really, and it was a fun, just the 90s in general.
Amazing.
Were just an
They were.
amazing time in the entertainment business. Fun, a lot of work, a lot of money, and it was a great time. So a lot of the stuff I did, as I was just looking through this, there's never really a situation that I've been in where I didn't like what I was doing. There's been some stuff that were some projects I worked on were a bit more of a struggle, but those were mostly the logistics of it. You're trying to do 100 pages in 25 days or whatever, even though on a soap we do that in a day.
Right.
Different kind of a makeup, but most of the time the problems were always we were running out of time and money. But I've been blessed to work with really just great people.
Do you have a dream role that like you would love to do? Because
that's also a very good question. I used to when I was younger. I more really in the same theme of that would just be something that's really going to stretch me. Back to the question: do I like playing a villain or a hero better? I really want to do something dirty, gritty. That's just stretches me out. Broken. Things that now that I'm older and I have kids and I've lived a lot more life, really is the essence of living, and so those kind of roles really attract me. I always sort of fancied myself as a character actor trapped in a leading man's body. I know it sounds bad. I don't mean that in terms of my abilities. It's more in terms of the demands of the role. What would draw me into something like that, and what would arouse my curiosity and really stretch me a bit.
Are there any actors that you're dying to work with that you have yet to work with?
So many.
I'm available.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me know when.
Right on top of the list.
Mark J Freeman.
He's right there. He's right there.
Yeah.
Above Alec Baldwin. I really like Alec Baldwin's work.
Yeah.
I think he's a guy who can do comedy and drama with equal skill.
True.
So I'd love to get in there and mess around. The proverbials. I mean, Denzel Washington's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman is probably my all-time favorite actor. I mean, you name it. Meryl Streep would be
Amazing.
I would actually like to have a
Meryl
love scene with Meryl Streep.
Yeah, I bet that would be fun.
I was going to ask
awesome.
you, since you're talking about these talented dramatic and comedic actors, about working with Eileen Davidson, because I do believe she was playing all those multiple brothers and sisters
Susan
while you were on, right?
Yeah, she did it at the end of my thing. Yeah, she
What
really
was
had a good.
that like, walking into her as a...
Eileen's awesome. Eileen is a very strong and confident actor, so she's another person I have to show, because she actually, when you asked me about changing the lines and stuff, she would change stuff a little bit, like, I'd say something to her, and this is early on. I mean, I've been on the show 4 months, so I didn't quite have the freedom she did, and she had been doing soaps for years, and she would say something like, "Why are you saying that?" But she'd say it as her character, and I'm like, and I'd have to. Then it would be a little bit of an improv exchange. So she would actually call me out in her character for being expository. It was just kind of a funny thing she used to always do. I was like, oh, this is how she's going to do it. Okay. That was a dumb thing to say. I'm like, that they're writing this. Right? Give me a little break. Give her my
cut it out, Eileen.
My downstage eye, upstage eye. Like, come on now, sister, help me out. Yeah, she's fun, very strong actress, really, really smart, and when you're doing, like I said, you could be caught saying the same thing over and over again every day to the same person. You want to have some fun and play a little bit, and she definitely was someone who I could play. A lot of times I didn't get to work with a lot of people. When you think about it,
Right.
I mean, some people here and there, but mostly it's like same 4 or 5 people. You know?
Right.
And that's why I think I liked the Aramid storyline, where they brought some people and I got to mix in a little bit more with the other cast member. Wasn't so sequestered.
We forget too when we're watching. We'll have somebody on that's on the show, and they're like, "Oh, we've never spoken," and I'm like, "How could you?
How
have
is
never
that
spoken
possible?"
to that? Like, to us, we're like,
because they were
they're all best friends.
Yeah, that was a lot on camera. I mean, there was probably people that I never even had any exchange with, but I mean, seeing them, I was friends with literally every person there. On the cast, we were just such a tight knit group. And don't forget, when I came on, Mac Carey was still there.
Oh, wow.
He was still alive.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not doing well, unfortunately, and so his workload was pretty rapidly diminished. But I was there. I knew him, and I worked with Frances. I actually worked with Frances.
Who was just lovely.
Yeah, a doll, and a great sense of humor, and a wonderful lady. And
"How were the donuts?"
But she just So, I mean, those are the icons. Those are what the show was established on. So that's where I came from. Even though I never worked with Mac, I don't think I said any words to him in a scene. I appreciated what he meant to the show, and his persona was was always there. So
A living legend.
yeah, for sure. So, and a gentleman. I mean, a gentleman.
Yeah.
And I never heard anybody say a bad word about him.
They better not.
No. But I mean, even in passing, he was just a gentleman. Whereas I had bad words said about me and to me on a daily basis.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's
I think
that's what comes on with being a villain.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's it's a different generation now too. I think he was from a generation of actors where that's just how you behaved, and now it's
part of your professionalism.
For sure. It's very different now.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, it is that time where we have run out of time. But,
I see the sand. We're pretty right on.
It's pretty spot on.
Yeah.
But before we go, I do want to let you know, Jason, that we do a thing here where we always have a hashtag bring a character back. So our fans have already started hashtag bring back Peter.
Okay. Sounds good.
So that's going to be going around for a while.
Sounds
I don't know. I think we've done pretty good when those hashtags have popped up. Those characters
right?
kind
Is that right?
of
They've
popped
come
up
back?
again. Yeah.
Really?
So,
We like
yeah.
to think that we have influence on
Yes,
them.
yes.
Even
All
though
right.
we have nothing.
Well, it's been a long time for me.
Yeah.
It's been almost 20 years. So
Yeah.
that would be. Would that
So
would
it's
that
time.
set any
Aren't
sort of
you glad
record?
we bumped
Yeah.
into each other?
Yeah, of course.
Listen,
would that be
it's-
any sort of record? That
It
you
would be.
Yeah.
It would
okay.
be. But it's
We'll
totally
see. I
fine.
wanna-
We can work out your storyline. Like I feel
Yes.
like you can come back into Salem.
Yes.
With a new friend, hashtag Maxine Sun.
That's
would be
right.
me. And then you can still practice law. I can go into hospital.
I would
We
like
could
to
be
come back a man of the cloth. I think that would allow for a lot of places.
There's an
We might need
opening
one.
now that Eric is no
stretched
longer.
in by and I think that would be interesting. But we're gonna judge your juice on this and see if this can happen.
Yeah, we're gonna make it happen. You guys tweet that out. Hashtag Bring Back Peter. Well, Jason, thank you so much for joining us
Pleasure.
today.
Yes.
Absolute
So much
pleasure.
fun. Thank you for coming in.
pleasure.
And of course, before we go, Mark, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Lorraine Love, LORAYNELOVE.
And Matthew?
You can find me at Mr. Matthew Evan on Instagram and Twitter.
Now, unfortunately, you can't find Jason anywhere. So
No social media.
no social media. So if
Find me
you
at the supermarket at midnight in the milk.
Yeah.
Right.
audition.
Try
other
and
than
bump
that,
into
yeah.
him at the next casting.
That's right.
exactly, just say hello. Make sure your vibe is good. Don't scare
Yeah.
him off.
Don't
Just say
scare him.
hello. Love
That's
your
right.
character. Keep pushing.
That's it. Don't accost me. I'm not into the accosting.
And of course, you guys can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony or my website, loungingwithtony.com. Again, thank you so much, Jason, for
Pleasure.
coming in. and
Absolute
chatting with
pleasure.
us.
Thanks, guys. It was a lot of
And
fun.
Days fans, don't go anywhere because right after this, we have Dish and Days with our very special guest, Robert Scott Wilson, who plays good old Batty Ben. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.